This conference will now be recorded.
Okay. Hi friends, good morning. In this Business Intelligence Master Program, so in today's session, we are going to talk about how you can copy multiple files from Blob storage to the Blob dynamically. Yesterday, we have seen only one use case where when we have a multiple files in a one container, we have taken all these files and we have loaded into the our destination folder. But today we will see if you have a different types of files. Example, you have CSV files, you have JSON files in your input file. You want to load only CSV files into the destination. Next case, like example, you have CSV and JSON files. I want to load the CSV and JSON files, all the files into our output folder. How you can load these kind of files, how you can copy these kind of scenarios, how you can implement these kind of scenarios, we will see. Okay, let's start. In today's session, we will talk about scenarios that we are going to cover. Then we will see CSV file overview, JSON file overview, how CSV file will look like, how JSON file will look like. So all those things will discuss. Then we are going to talk about data flow diagram. Okay, how this data flow diagram. So how you are going to move these particular files from one folder to the another folder, we will see. Then we are going to talk about estimations. Okay, how many linker services we need, how many data sets we need, those estimations we are going to do. Then we will see debug functionality in Azure Data Factory. Suppose what is the difference between debug and trigger? Can anybody answer, friends? Anybody remember? What is the difference between debug and trigger?
Trigger will initiate all the activities, whereas in debug we can trigger a certain activity.
Very good. So you can create a breakpoint and execute pipeline partially in debug, but in trigger you cannot control the activity execution. Everything is going to execute. And next thing is in debug, if you want to debug the pipeline, you no need to save those things. You no need to publish it. But if you want to trigger, you need to publish it. Then only you can able to trigger the pipeline. Okay, fine. The next prerequisite, what all things we need to understand to do today lab and required resources. What are the resources we need to create in Azure portal? These things we will discuss in today's session. With respect to demo, we'll see again creating storage account. Okay, upload files into storage account, create Azure Data Factory V2, how to create Azure Data Factory V2. Then we will see how we can create the linker service for Blob storage. All these things we have done yesterday. Okay, create source data reference, that is nothing but a data set. Then create sync data set. Okay, create pipeline, we are going to create the pipeline. Then we will debug pipeline, and we can also run the pipeline, meaning we can able to trigger the pipeline. So once we trigger or debug, if you want to monitor the pipeline, we have a monitor tab as we discussed yesterday. We are going to explore about monitor pipeline. Okay, fine. Scenarios. First scenario, yesterday whatever we have seen, same thing we are going to see. Copy multiple CSV files from input CSV container to output CSV container as CSV file. So I'm not converting the file. I'm not converting the file. Remember, if you want to convert, doesn't matter what type of file I have, whether I have a CSV file, I have a JSON file, doesn't matter. I want to convert all these files into particular format. You can able to convert it. Okay, but you see here, if I have a multiple CSV files in my input container, all those input container files I want to load it into output container. Next scenario is we are going to copy specific extensions files from input container to output container as specified file format. Example, let's say I have CSV and JSON, both the files in my input container. What I want to do, I want to take only CSV files and load it into my target. Okay, how you can load, we are going to discuss. Then we are going to see copy two types of files, JSON and CSV, from input CSV JSON file container to output CSV JSON container as source format, meaning I want to load this JSON and CSV two files into my output container. Maybe if you want to load it as a CSV, you can load it as a CSV. If you want to load it as a JSON, you can load it as a JSON. So we will talk about those things. Okay, how you can load the CSV and JSON files into your output container, we will see. So these are the three scenarios we are going to discuss today. And let's start with Azure Blob, again mentioning same things. You are going to create a storage account. Inside storage account, we will have a container. Inside container, we will upload the actual files. These files where it is stored, that particular metadata will be stored in a metadata inside. Like this is basically internal things, but we can able to see where this particular file is available, whether it is using hot access type, cool access type, what kind of blob it is using. We have a blob, page blob, append blob, right? So what kind of blob it is using, all those things we will come to know. Next, CSV file overview. So as we discussed, CSV is nothing but a comma separated values file is a delimited text file that uses comma to separate values, but it no need to be a comma, it can be anything as we discussed. Each line of the file is a data record. Each line, each row, line is nothing but a row. Each row of a file is a data record. Each record consists of one or more fields. Fields means columns. You can have a one column, you can have a more columns. So each column is separated by commas. So separator can be a comma, pipe or tab as we discussed yesterday. See, this is one column, this is another column, this is another column, this is another column. All columns are separated with comma, but it can be a comma, pipe or question mark, whatever it can be. If it is a pipe, something like this. Okay, if it is a tab, you will have space, tab space. It will not be like a slash t. It is a tab space will be there between the name, company and email and password. Okay, we will see those different scenarios, but CSV file means like this. Now let's talk about JSON file view overview. JSON stands for JavaScript Object Notation. JavaScript Object Notation is an open standard file format and a data interchange format that uses human readable text to store and transmit data objects consisting of attribute, value, pairs, and array data types. What it means is basically here in JSON, all the values will have a key and value, meaning all the column names are going to repeat multiple times. Let me show you here. You see here, basically if you say code is a column name in CSV, 2006, 2013, 2018 will be there under that particular column, but it's a key and value pair. You see key code 2006, code 2013, code 2018, description 2006, description 2013, description 2018, sort order 1, sort order 2, sort order 3, something like that. You may have all these values. You will have all these values. Clear? Okay, this is how your JSON file format will look like. Clear? Next. Same thing. I want to copy data from blob to blob. Okay, let's say if I want to create a two different storages today. Okay, so example, I created the blob storage 1. Okay, inside blob storage 1, I have input container. So for this, in this particular input container, I have a emp.csv. I also have a custody.csv. Okay, two CSV files I have. So I want to load it into blob storage. Okay, in another storage, this is another storage. This is storage 1, this is storage 2. Okay, so in storage 1, I have input container. In storage 2, I have output container. So first I need to connect to this particular blob storage through linked service. Then I need to read these particular files. I can read all the files. If I want to read a single file, we can able to read it by using a input data set. Then what we need to do with this data, I want to copy this data. Where you want to copy this data? Into my output data set. So what is your output data set? My output data set is available in another storage account. So you need to create another linker service for this particular storage. So then if you run a pipeline, files will come into this particular folder. Okay, emp.csv, cust.csv. Who is going to do all these things? Integration runtime, Azure integration runtime. Who will manage? Azure Data Factory is going to manage. This is clear. I have a storage account 1 and storage account 2. I have input in storage account 1 and output in storage account 2. Now, can you tell me how many linked services I need? How many data sets I need?
One linked service, two data sets, sir. One linked service. Two data sets.
Two data sets.
One linked service and two data sets.
Malay, you said two storage accounts, right? So two linked services and two data
Yes,
sets,
Malay.
one input, one output.
Yeah, two LS and two DS.
Two linked lists and two data sets. One for input and another for the output.
Two linked lists and two data sets.
Okay, very good. So we need a two linked services and two data sets. Okay, whoever answered that, so they are clear on the concept. Whoever is answering one and one, something like that, so that is wrong. Please try to understand the concept. We have a two different storage account. Let's say you have two different Facebook accounts. So you need to log in into two Facebook accounts. You have two Gmail accounts. You need to log into two Gmail accounts to send a mail from one mail to another mail. Suppose you want to from one mail you need to log in to send a mail. Another mail you need to log in to check whether you received a mail or not, isn't it? So in the same way, if you want to check anything in two different storages, you need to connect to the two different storages. In the same way, now let's say, okay, so let me just tell you now. So again, I want to copy data from blob to blob. Same thing, you have input, but this time you see emp.csv. What is this? Yeah, so one second, just give me a minute. This is what I need to explain. Okay, so now you see, friends, copy data from. So now you have a little bit different blob storage. Inside that you have an input container. In that container you see emp.json, customer.cs. We have two types of files. I want to load these particular files in the blob storage. Okay, first connect to the storage account one by using linked service. I can create input data set, copy activity you can use, create output data set, connect to the or like another storage account by using another linked service. Now I want to load these two files into my output container as this emp.json and cust.csv. How we can load, we are going to discuss in today's session. Okay, so this is basically you have Azure integration runtime who is going to do, and Azure Data Factory will manage all these things. Okay, fine. So this flow you understood. We need to create a two linked services, two data sets. Then we need to use one copy activity and one pipeline for this. Let's start with estimation. See, first one is I want to copy multiple CSV files from input CSV container to output CSV container as a CSV file. Second scenario, copy specific extension file from input CSV container to output CSV container as specified file format. Third one is copy two types of files, JSON and CSV file from input CSV JSON container to output CSV JSON container as a CSV files. Okay, so for these estimations, we know we need to create a one linked service for each storage, meaning we are going to use two storages, so we need to create two linked services. How many data sets? So one data set for our source reference, another data set for our sync reference, meaning input data set, output data set. We need two data sets. How many copy activity? One copy activity I will use. How many pipelines? One pipeline I will use. What type of file we are going to use to copy data from blob to blob? Remember, we are going to use Azure integration runtime. We are going to use something called Azure integration runtime. So again, let's say copy two types of files, JSON and CSV files from input CSV JSON container to output CSV JSON container as source format. Meaning, if you have a JSON file in source, I want to load it as a JSON. If you have a CSV file in our source, I want to load it as a CSV. So for this same, you need a two linked services, two data sets, one copy activity, one pipeline, and Azure integration runtime. We need same setup for this particular requirement as well. Debug functionality, as we discussed yesterday, we can execute a pipeline in two ways: debug and triggers. ADF debug functionality allows testing pipeline without publishing changes. In debug, we don't need to publish these changes. Without publishing the pipeline, you can able to debug the pipeline. Okay. Next, this functionality also allows setting breakpoint on activities, which would ensure partial pipeline execution. We are executing pipeline partially. Example, in a pipeline, if you have copy activity, then stored procedure activity, we need to test my copy activity without executing stored procedure activity. Okay, I have copy activity and stored procedure activity, two activities I am using. So then we need to create a breakpoint on copy activity to control execution of stored procedure activity. So what it means, I don't want to execute stored procedure activity, I want to execute only copy activity. Then you need to create a breakpoint on copy activity. You remember yesterday we have used wait activity and copy activity. I created a breakpoint on wait activity. Then what happened? my copy activity did not execute. How many of you remember yesterday lab? We have done this. Okay, good.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Next. So prerequisite, we should understand what is storage account data factory. So this particular thing we have not discussed, but we will discuss. Okay. What is linked service data set, activity, and pipeline? So all these things we know. Linked service for connecting data set, for defining the data structure, the activity, what you want to do with the data, pipeline, the sequence of activities. If you want to execute group of activities, if you want to execute, you need to execute within a pipeline. Okay. Next, required resources, we need storage account and the data factory V2. So let's create a 2 storage accounts and 1 data factory, and we will try to do the lab. Okay. Let me quickly jump into the portal. Here you can search for portal.tezu.com. Okay, because I won't spend much time on theory, let's spend more on a practicals. Because some, like let's say if you are a student or if you are in any background, if you don't have any experience, so it is little bit difficult for you to understand from the theory. So if I explain you through practicals, you can able to understand, okay, this is what we can able to do with this. Okay. That's why let's create 2 storage accounts.
Hi Malaya.
Yeah, tell me.
Before we start a lab session, can you just give a quick overview of Azure portal? What are the options are there? What is the use of that?
Okay, see, anyhow, we are going to discuss this on Monday, as I mentioned, right? So we are going to see how to create an Azure account. So when I explained you how to create Azure account on that day, I will explain you. For now, so I just tell you. So if you have already account, you can just explore here. You can just say storage account. You search here, you will get that storage account. Okay. Suppose if you want to see all the resources, click on all services. Here you see all services. So you will come here. So based on, let's say you want some storages, go to storage. Click on storage. You will get storage account and storage options. You want some databases, click on database options. Okay, but I will discuss more on this particular portal navigation on Monday. Okay, when we create the account. Okay, fine. Because we need
Okay,
to
Malaya.
different scenarios today. Let's spend more on these scenarios. Click on storage accounts to create the storage account 1. Let's click add to create the storage account 1. Resource group, I'll just create a new resource group. You can say cloud funding BA master program 1. I'm just saying program 1. And the storage account, I'll say cloud funded blob 1. I'm saying cloud pandit blob 1. So remaining options, you know, location, account and replication, just click review plus create without checking all this. Create it. Now come here.
That should be a unique, correct? The resource group as well as the storage name. That should be a unique, correct?
Resource group name should be unique within your account, not globally unique. Okay. But storage account name is globally unique. Okay.
Okay.
Just click on storage account. Click add. Understood, Arun? See, this is basically within a account. This is unique within a account. Okay, try to understand. So I have already BA master program group. That's why I created BA master program 1. You cannot have a duplicate resource group. And this storage account name, I will say my blob. See what it's saying? Storage account name my blob is already taken. I don't know who has taken. It's globally unique. That's what it has taken. Let's say Cloud Pandit blob 2. So this is available. I just take name, click review. So now I have created how many storage accounts? 2 storage accounts. Okay. Fine. Let's open portal.azure.com again. So to open the portal, you need to use a portal.azure.com. Remember. Okay. Now in this we have storage account 1, storage account 2. Here I want to create the data factory. You can search for data factory here, data factory. See, click on this data factories. Click add to create the data factories. Subscription, this is the BA master program one, and data factory name, right? So Cloud Pandit. So this is also globally unique. If you say Cloud Pandit, so this is already okay. This is 23. I have deleted, right? So you see Cloud Pandit 0123. Today date I am giving first and 23, right? So Cloud Pandit ADF 0123. This is unique. We need to git configuration. We will configure it later. At the end, we will discuss how you can integrate your data factory with GitHub. Click review plus create. Create. Okay, fine. Let's come to the storage account one. See, storage account 1 is ready. Storage account 2 is ready. Let's go inside storage account 1. Click on this. See Blob 1. Inside Blob 1, click on containers. Let's create a input container. Input data. Create this way. Now come here. Go to resource. This is Blob 2. Click on containers to create a output data. Create it. Now you have a input data folder in your Blob 1, output data folder in Blob 2. Now come to data factory, click on go to resource. Click on author and monitor. Let's open a data factory. So now what I want to do, from input data folder, I want to move data into output data folder. But do we have any data in this input data folder? No. I will upload a multiple CSV files. Let's click on this. So yesterday we have done same lab, okay, but today also I'm showing you same thing. Upload this. Click upload. Okay, so many CSV files I have uploaded. If you want to see the data quickly, so one by one file you can check it quickly. I have some credit information in this particular file. If you want to see, you can see MasterCard, Visa card. These people are using, this is their credit score. Let's click on cust2.csv. You have some players details, okay, cricket players details. Go to cust3.csv. Here also you have a cricket players scores. But I want to load, see here also cricket score, cust6.csv. I think this is also same, yes, cricket score. Employee1.csv. Okay, this is basically, this is also, we have, this is also cricket players. But you have a multiple CSV files. All these CSV files, I want to load it into my output data folder container. Okay, so how to do that? So I will do quickly. Please let me know whoever is having, whoever is not able to understand. Okay, just click on now manage tab, click link service, click new. So here I need to say Blob connection, right? Search for Blob. This is the Blob. Okay, but you need to do continue. So what is the naming conventions? You remember LS for linker service. Okay, this is Azure Blob storage, but this is for a Blob 1 connection. So I will say Blob 1 connection. So through how you are going to connect by using integration runtime. Okay, I have an account key. Through account key, like authentication will be done. So how you will identify your storage from this subscription? I'm going to identify my storage account. See Blob 1. Select the Blob 1. Okay, key is loaded automatically. Test the connection. Connection successful, you can create. Now I want to connect to my Blob 2. Can I connect to the Blob 2 by using this connection? No, right? You need to have a separate connection. So search for Blob again, click on this, click continue. So this I will say ls for Azure Blob storage Blob 2 connection. Okay, same integration runtime, account key, subscription is this, and storage account name is Blob 2. Okay, test connection created. So you may have n number of questions. Who is doing this, and why not in other way? How really, whether we are going to do like this in real time? So when you are fresher, right? So you will have all these doubts. So whatever he is doing, whether it is exactly correct or wrong. So many things you will get to, like you will get all these doubts. But what you need to do, you need to trust me, and you need to follow a few things to get the job. What you need to do, you just do without thinking anything. First few sessions, you just follow my videos and do whatever I do. Okay, later we will introduce different scenarios, then you will be able to explore the different scenarios, then you will get the confidence. At the beginning only, if you have all the doubts, oh, he is connecting like this, why only this way, is there any other way, why not he is using other way? So all these doubts, if you get at this time, you will not start practicing the basic things itself. You will stuck at basic things itself. So even if you have n number of questions, you reach out to me, ask me one thing. If you're not able to ask me, at least just practice whatever I'm just doing. Okay, however, whatever names I have given to create the storage accounts, with the same names you create, and you try to practice all these things. Okay, so if you practice, you will get a lot of confidence, and the more questions will be clarified automatically when you practice. This is a linked service. Let's go to author tab. Let's click on data sets. See, something called Power Query came. So these people are introducing a lot of things. See, I think yesterday we have not seen. Okay, but let's click on data sets, click new data set. So this is Blob storage, click continue. CSV files, click continue. You understood, this is the data set. So this is my DS for Azure Blob storage. Input data set, input data. So input data is available in which storage? Tell me in which storage we have input data?
Blob 1 connection.
Blob 1 connection, very good. So you need to use a Blob 1 connection, browse it, select the input data folder. Are we going to copy particular file, or are we going to copy all the files? All the files. So that's why don't select a particular file, just select a folder. Don't select any file, just select a folder, because inside this folder all the files I want to copy. First row is a header, yes, first row is header. So in all the files I have header, that's why I'm saying first row is header. Click OK. Now this is input data set is ready. Click new data set, output data set. So Blob storage only, click continue.
One question: if you would have created some multiple folders like input data underscore / input data 1, 2, 3, like, then how will the path look? It would be it will automatically take all the slashes in between, or how will it?
You mean to say inside that particular folder you
have 5 to 6 folders inside, and then there is a file inside of it.
Then you need to come in there. You need to reach another approach that we will discuss. Multiple containers, how you can able to copy, we are going to discuss. Okay, so in that session we will come to know. Okay. That is in the future. Okay, fine. Now let's click on CSV, click continue. This is what this is basically DS for Azure Blob storage, and it is basically output data. Okay, in this output data folder is available in which connection? Blob 2 connection. First is data where I need to load all these files in output data folder. Click OK. Okay, click OK. Okay, I have now. So I have input data set, output data set. Let's create a pipeline. So let's use this copy activity, copy data activity. In this copy data activity, you see what is your source? My source is input data, isn't it? What is my output? My output is output data. If you want to rename these things, PL for data movement from input to output, input to output folder. Okay. Now I want to debug. So you have only one activity, whether you are debugging or triggering, doesn't matter. Okay. So, but one thing you need to notice, still at this time, can I debug? Yes, I can able to debug. But can I run it? Let's try to run. What it will say is, it will say there is no pipeline available because you have not saved it. See, pipeline is not found. Please publish first. So if you are not publishing, if you are not saving, trigger will not identify that there is a pipeline available. So, but debug can able to identify. Let's click debug. So before you click debug, you need to do something, that is come to source side. A source side, you selected what? You selected what? You selected file. Sorry, you selected a folder. So inside folder you have multiple files. So you need to say wildcard file path star. So inside input data folder star, I am saying star means in this particular folder, if we have 100 files, bring 100 files. If we have 500 files, bring 500 files. Okay, let's click debug. Here, this is succeeded. This is succeeded. Let's go to output data folder. Let's refresh this. You see all these files came. Okay. Let's compare the data size, 292 bytes. Here 292 bytes. Just check 123 bytes. 123 bytes, meaning for exact data came here. Exact data will copied into your another storage.
Malaya?
Okay. Yes, tell me.
Malaya, one doubt. When we are having only one activity, why we need to debug actually? Because yesterday you told that only when there are two activities we need to do debug by we have to create a breakpoint. So
That's
here
what.
only copy.
So I already explained, Arun or Vikas, Arun. I already explained. You did not hear. I think you did not observe that point. I have not published. So if you try to trigger, what it is saying, pipeline
It is
is
asking.
not published first. So that's why what happened, I have debugged. But if you can publish, you can do anything. You can run, you can debug. Anything you can do later. Debug, you can in two scenarios. Without publish, if you want to run pipeline. Second scenario is if you want to create a breakpoint and run the pipeline, you will need to use the debug.
Hello.
Yes, yes. Tell me. Tell me.
Yeah, your voice is breaking, Malaya. That's all.
Other people, can you able to hear me, friends? Or only Arun is having issue? Voice is breaking to everybody.
No, it's clear.
No, we can hear you. No issues.
Can you hear?
Yeah, I think Arun, you have issue, Arun. That's fine, but see,
Okay,
again, I'm repeating. Debug is used in two cases. One is if you want to run a pipeline without saving. Second is if you want to run a pipeline partially by creating the breakpoint. You want to few activities, then you need to go with debug. Yeah.
Okay, Malaya.
Malaya, one query or suggestion you can say.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we have created two storage accounts and two linked services right here.
Correct.
Yeah, a small suggestion, like if you can open any notepad and just like write it down, like which are the things that we'll be conferring, and then if you can go there, it will be like you can remember more. That's what I was thinking. Because in the middle again we'll sometimes forget, right? So that's the reason.
Sure, right.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. Say you have a blob one. Okay. Inside blob one, I have input data container. So what I have done, so from blob one, I have copied data into Blob 2. Okay, instead of this this particular notepad, what I can do, I can open Paint. It will be more easy for you to understand. Okay. See, I have created, as of now, I have done this. Okay, what I have done is, I have created a Blob 1. I have created a Blob 2. Okay. So let's say this is Blob 1. Blob 1 storage. Okay, let's say this is a Blob 1. Okay, in the same way, I have here Blob 2. Okay, so what I have done is from Blob 1, inside Blob 1, I have created the input data. Okay, so from inside input data, I have a multiple files. All those files I moved to the output data container. Okay, this is what I have done. This is what I have done. Okay, first lab is we have done this. Copied multiple files from input to output data folder. Now let's say, now what I will do, I'll just create a one more folder called CSV JSON data. CSV JSON data, and I will upload two types of files, CSV and JSON files. These CSV and JSON files, I will move it into, let's say, CSV JSON output data. Understood? Now I will place CSV and JSON, both the types of files I will place here. Those files I will try to copy into this particular folder. Okay, that is what I'm going to do now. So we have created Blob 1, Blob 2 already available. Inside Blob 1, I will create this folder. Inside Blob 2, I will create this. Come here. So go back. Let's create a here CSV JSON data created. Okay. This is a Blob 1. Go to Blob 2. Inside Blob 2, I will create the CSV JSON data to CSV JSON output data container. Okay, now I just created those two folders, this folder and this folder I have created. Inside this folder, let me upload CSV and JSON files. Okay, so come here, go inside this. Okay, Blob 1. Let's upload these two files. Click on this. So let's say you have some CSV1. Let me upload some CSV1 to 4 files. Upload, and then let me upload JSON file. Naveen, please be in mute. Naveen. Okay. Sorry. In Blob 1, let me upload the JSON file. So, okay, see, this is the 1, 2, 3, 4, some 4 JSON files I'm uploading. Okay, upload it. Okay, now all this, out of all these files, I want to pick only CSV files. Okay, I want to pick only CSV files and load it into my output. Load it into, see, I have two types of files, right? Here I have a basically CSV and the JSON files. But in my output container, I should see only CSV files. I should copy only CSV files. Understood? I should copy here. I have a CSV and a JSON, but in output, I should see only CSV files. That's how I need to copy. Only I need to pick CSV files. Only CSV files I need to copy into my output container. How to do that? We'll see. Okay. Come to pipeline. Already we have connections available. Do I need to create a new connections? Do I need to create a new connections, or can I use the existing connection?
You can use existing.
Same one.
Use new or same?
Existing.
Okay. Okay, we
Can
are
use the
going to
same
use
connection.
Can we create a new data sets, or are we going to use the existing data sets? Okay.
Existing.
So existing you can use, but remember you will confuse. That's why I don't want to use the existing. Okay, you will confuse. That's why I don't want to use the existing, because this is pointing to the another folder. But I can able to change that particular configuration. But I don't want to do that. You will confuse. That's why I will create a new data set, because the folder is different, right? That's why I'll create a new data sets. So now we have a CSV and JSON files. How you will say what to pick? Basically, you just select any of this. Okay, let's say CSV or whatever you say, doesn't matter here basically. Okay, DS for Azure Blob storage to read CSV JSON data. See, this is a Blob one, and let's just select this particular folder. See, this time I'm selecting this folder, CSV JSON data folder. I have not selected any files. First was header. Okay, just click OK. Okay. Now let's create the output data set as well, new data set. So blob storage, click continue. So how you want to load? Let's load it as the CSV. Here DS Azure blob storage. This is basically CSV JSON output data. JSON output data. Use the connection to first that browse it and select this CSV JSON output data. Click OK. Okay, so I have again a two data sets. Let's create a new pipeline for this. You no need to create a new pipeline, all those things. For easy understanding, I'm doing these things. PL underscore data CSV2 output. Okay, PL data movement from CSV JSON folder to the CSV JSON output folder. Okay, fine. In this, again, I will use a simple copy activity. This time, my source data set is what? My source data set is CSV JSON data. Okay, what is my target data set? CSV JSON output data. From source, you need to tell what type of file you want, wildcard file path. So if you say star, CSV and JSON, both it will pick. But I want only CSV, so I'll say star.csv. File name can be anything, but only .csv extension files only I want to take. Okay, this is clear. Is this clear to all of you?
Yes, Malia.
Yes.
Yes, it's clear.
Thank you.
Yes.
Let's click debug now. Only CSV extension files are moving. Okay, it succeeded. Come to Blob 2, go inside this and see what type of files you got here. What you got? Only you got CSV files. You understood? What you got? You got
Only
only CSV.
CSV file.
Very good. Now let's say I'll just delete this. Okay, I don't want to create a multiple pipelines for this, so I just delete it. Now I don't have like CSV and JSON, right? So but now I want to load both the files, CSV and JSON, both the files I want to load. Okay, what you need to do, go inside this pipeline. Instead of saying star.csv, simply you put star. Let's debug.
Malia, here suppose we have more than 10 type of files. I want to move CSV and JSON only. That time, shall we put like a star dot CSV comma dot JSON, correct?
No. That will not work. Comma and all. So in that case, you need to go with the two different copy activities, or you need to pass that particular parameter dynamically. Okay, come here, refresh this. So like this, we have data. Okay, all the files came. Just to click on this JSON. click edit. Okay, we have a JSON data as this JSON. Okay, next to click on CSV, click edit. You see you have this as well. Okay, you have the CSV file you have as the CSV, you have JSON data as this JSON. Okay, now I'll just set this as this. I'll just set this as this. What I will set, you have what is this? Okay, CSV. I'll just pick the only .csv files. Okay, let's delete all these things. You know, right? In this case, what will happen? You know or you don't know? I hope everybody know, right? If I run this pipeline, what will happen? You know this, isn't it? Fine.
Copy only the CSV.
CSV files will come in.
Yes, yes, you're right. Now let's publish this also. Let's implement one more pipeline. I will tell you what you are going to do. So meanwhile, let me just understand for this. One second, just a minute. Okay, this time what I want to do, you know, like you have JSON files, CSV files, right? Okay, let's create a different folder itself. Okay, now let's come back to the here, and this time I will say I'm going to create a one more folder. Okay, I'm going to create a one more folder. Here I will say first and employee data. First and employee data folder I have, and then here I have a first EMP output data folder I have. Okay, but now all these are CSV files. All these are CSV files. Cust.csv, cust1.csv, cust2.csv, like that I have. emp.csv, emp1.csv, emp2.csv, like that I have. But I want to, here you see I have a cust files, customer files, emp files. This is basically emp.csv, cust.csv. If I say CSV files, everything will come. But I want to filter out and I need to get only emp file. Okay. Or I want to get only customer file. I want to get only customer file into my output. You understood? Here you have a cust.csv, employee.csv, but in my output I want to get only cust.csv, cust.csv. Not mentioned here. Cust.csv. Okay, what you need to do for this? Okay, cust.csv, I need to move only cust file. I need to move. How you can do that, we will discuss. Okay, so quickly. So all these are just for your practice, for understanding these things, because tomorrow I won't discuss all this copy activity, what it is, and all those things, because you need to be very, very good at copy activity. Okay, because 50 to 60% we are going to use a copy activity only. Okay, to do this particular copy activity, if so in real time we have a requirement to copy incremental data, to copy full load data, to copy multiple tables, to copy multiple tables, to copy multiple containers. Inside container we have a multiple file. So ultimately copy is the one of the most important activity. If you understand this, to copy multiple files, you just have to do some controls and all. Okay, how to use this copy activity. So but you need to be good at copy activity. Okay, so that's why I am just giving all these examples. Let's say now CSV employee data. Okay, CSV employee data. Oh shit, sorry, cust and employee data, right? Cust and employee data. Cust and employee data in blob 1. In blob 2 we have what? Cust and employee output data. Click create. Okay, click create. Oops, spelling mistake, that's okay, you can able to understand, right? So but if you want to, don't think it is not possible for you to, okay, anyhow you can delete this, no problem. Let's create a new container with proper name. First employee output data. Click create. This is the folder. Okay, in this folder I need to get only cust.csv files. Okay, so go inside this particular cust emp. Okay, cust emp data, right? Let's upload. I will upload customer files and employee files. See, let's upload these all these things. Then let's talk about employee one and employee. Okay. Understood? You see, you have a customer.csv, all these things, you have a employees as well. But I want to get only customer files into my output container. For that, come here. Let's create a new two data sets. Okay, new data set. Blob storage, click continue. As a CSV files, click continue. This is basically your blob storage. First, employee data. Use this linker service. Blob one. Browse it. Okay. Cust emp. Okay, just select this folder. First as header, click OK. Next, output data. You have custard data, right? Next, go inside this particular folder. Sorry. Let's create a new data set. Blob storage, click continue. As a CSV, click continue. This is DSH blob storage. Cust employee output data. Use linker services. Blob 2. First as header, browse it and select your cust emp output data folder. Click OK. Click OK. Now you have all these things. Two data sets we have. Let's create a pipeline. This pipeline is basically for PL data movement to from first emp data to first emp output. Let's use this copy data activity. So what is my source? My source data set is cust emp data. My sync data set is first emp output data. Okay, come back to the source. Here you see prefix. We have something called prefix. So prefix means what files you want to pick. File name is starting with the cust. Please pick only those files. I'm saying prefix is cust. Please pick the files where you have a file name as cust. Okay, file name is starting with cust. Those files only I want to pick cust. Let's click debug now.
Hello, Malaya.
Yes. It is copied. Now come here. Let's refresh. See, only cust files can. Let's say I want to get only employee files into this. Delete this. Come here. Go to source data set side. Here you just give EMP. Okay. Let's debug. Yes, somebody is asking something. Can you tell me? See, this is succeeded. Now come here, refresh this. See, only employee files came here. Only employee files came here. Okay. Everybody.
Malaya, one query.
Tell me.
if we have, let's say, 3 different type of file formats like CSV, text, and other, so that many data sets we require, right?
No, those things are not required. I will discuss those things, but basically you need to pass parameters dynamically. Okay. We have not
No, while
discussed.
creating data set, we were giving like TXT, CSV, and JSON, right? So different extension of files, we require different data sets, or is it like we can go with only one also?
Okay, see, you can, if you want to load these particular files as is into your output, you don't require multiple data sets. You can have a single data set. Okay, so if you want to convert something, if you want to convert the files, you may need to create the multiple data sets, because when you are creating data set, it will ask you, so for which type of file you are trying to load it. So whether my target file is CSV, see, you see, just click on this. Okay, here copy data, right? Click on sync. Let's say you try to create a new data set. Let's for blob story. You see, so these are the different types of files you can use as a output. Output format can be this, but if you come to source, try to click the new data sets, select blob storage. Input, you have a different more, like XML and Excel also will support for the input. Input side you can have a Excel, XML, JSON, OS, Park, all these files. But output side you have only like when you are loading, when you are trying to convert them, you can convert them as these formats only.
The 6 words. Okay.
Okay, so but that is up to you. If you want to just load text file as this text, if you want to load input CSV file as this CSV, then in that case you no need to create a multiple data sets. You can have a single data set. But if you have a different, you need to convert all the files into a single format, you need to create a multiple data sets.
Okay, got it.
Yeah, we will cover those things as well, do not worry. Now
Malaya, one, I know there is still time, but like, can we copy conditional data from these files, like,
you can
giving some?
do those things later, Abhishek. So
Okay, just for understanding. Yeah.
Yes. So we have, see, we have not started. I'm just still giving the knowledge. We have these many activities. We need to start understanding all these things. You can use filter. So to filter out the different types of files. Okay. So we will use all those things. Now you have this knowledge. Let's publish all these changes. Okay. So do not worry if you're not able to understand something, because as you practice, you'll come to know each and everything. Now you see what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to delete this blob to all containers. I'm deleting. Understood? I'm just deleting all the containers from my output. So now I'm going to run all these pipelines at once. I'm going to run all these pipelines at once. And what happens, these pipelines are having a data set. Inside data set, we have mentioned this particular output data in storage equal to what kind of containers we should have. So if the container is already available, it will load data into that. If the container is not available, it will create the container. We will see that. So now I will create these are my normal pipelines, right? I will create something called master pipeline. So this is just for your idea, okay? But we will discuss more on these things. Slowly I will introduce one by one, okay? Master PL, okay? Pipeline, master pipeline, you can call it as PL_master. So in this, you have something will go to general, have something will execute pipeline. Okay, how many pipelines you want to execute? 3 pipelines. You just use this. So what is your first pipeline? My first pipeline is input to output. What is my second pipeline? My second pipeline is CSV JSON to CSV JSON. My third pipeline. What is my third pipeline? Cust EMP data to cust EMP output data. Okay, I'm just executing these 3 pipelines at once. See, 1, 2, 3, all 3 will execute at once. Let's click on debug. So we'll see what will happen when you execute these 3 at once. This is called a parallel execution of the pipeline. If you want to execute multiple pipelines parallel, you need to just use this particular execute pipeline. If you want to arrange all these things properly, right click on this, click auto align. So it will align properly. So pipeline 1, 2, 3, all three are executing at once. Just execute there. Now come to your output folder, refresh this, all folders will come at once. So third also will come. It is a little bit slow sometimes. See, 2 pipelines executed. This third pipeline is why it is taking this much time. We have any issue in this cast EMP data, EMP. That also will succeed. Okay, do not worry. But it should not take this much time. Okay, the reason may be pipeline might have queued. So queued means it will wait for the resources to get. Sometimes if it is waiting for the resources to get, it will take more time. See, now it is not that much clear for us to understand. So what is the copy activity status? Okay, so that's why you need to publish and you need to run it for easy understanding. Okay, see, pipeline 3 also succeeded. Now come here, refresh this. See, 3 came. Go inside this, we'll have only employee data, employee files. Yes, that's how we configure. So go inside CSV JSON output, you will have only CSV files. Go inside output data, you will have everything, all the CSV files. Okay, you are clear on this, isn't it? Now let's say I don't want to execute something like this. I executed everything parallelly, right? But I don't want to execute all these things parallelly. I want to execute sequentially. First, I want to execute pipeline 1. Then I want to wait for some 5 seconds. Okay, wait for 5 seconds. Then I will execute a pipeline 2. Okay, I will execute a pipeline 2. Again, I'll just use this copy activity. Oh, sorry, I will use again wait activity. And say wait activity name, you can change it to wait 2. Okay, so once this wait activity, I need to configure to 5 seconds again. 5 seconds only. Now, after this wait activity, I want to execute this particular third pipeline. Okay, so wait activity. See, wait 1, it's 5 seconds. Wait 2, this is also 5 seconds. First, I'm going to execute this pipeline. If it is succeeded this, if it is succeeded this, if it is succeeded this. How do you know? On success of this, you are going to execute this. Green line indicates on success of this, I want to execute this. Now you can see, right click on this, highlight this line, right click on this, you see on success means green. So if this is failed, I want to execute this, then failure. If this is completion, completion means status may not be success, but actual execution is finished in the activity. So then completion, on success, completion of this, you want to execute it. Skipped, this activity is not executed, then I want to execute this. Okay, so likewise, based on your requirement, you need to configure, but I configured all these things on success of this, on success of this, on success of this, on this. Okay, let's publish all. Instead of debug, let's trigger now. Let's trigger now. Okay, so let it publish. The publishing is completed. Now add trigger now. Click OK. Now come to monitor tab. So this is master pipeline. Go inside, click on this pipeline, you will go inside pipeline activities. See, this is a one activity. Okay, this is another activity, this is another. First pipeline 1 is succeeded, wait activity, pipeline 2 is executing. Now if you refresh, you will get one folder, next folder is also completed, because now if you refresh, you will come to know two things are completed. See, final pipeline is executing. One by one. See, everything is succeeded. Pipeline is succeeded. Refresh this. So everything is succeeded. Now come here, refresh this. You will see all these 3 folders again here. Okay. If you come back, See, this is a master pipeline, but other pipelines also executed. See, master pipeline called this pipeline first. Next, it called this pipeline. Next, it called this pipeline. So all these pipeline executions you can see triggered by who has triggered all these pipelines. So some ID. So PL master we have triggered. That's why it's a manual. But all these three pipelines triggered by some trigger ID. Okay, from master pipeline we triggered. That's why these pipelines triggered by some internal functionality. Okay, but master pipeline we triggered. That's why it's a manual trigger. Okay, do not worry if you're not able to understand. So try to practice. Okay, just to do whatever I'm doing by seeing the videos. So once you practice few days, you will be able to understand the things, friends. Okay. So if you get stuck here, you will not be able to understand. Please try to practice these things. You'll be able to understand. Okay. Any questions before I close the call?
Will you provide any class notes or anything material?
No, I am sharing the videos. What class notes I have? Everything you have in videos, right?
How many days you will access? We can able to access that video.
You can access as many days as like. See, until you get the job, it will be there. It will be there unlimited. Like lifetime you will have. I won't revoke the access. Don't worry.
Okay. Thank you.
But that doesn't mean like you have to watch after 1 year. If you try to watch after 1 year, you will confuse again. Practice now. You can switch quickly now itself. Okay. Because you know one thing. What I have observed is, see, these data factor things are keep changing. So previously we don't have data flows and all those things. Now we have data flows. Power Query recently introduced, I think last in 1 or 2 days. Likewise, they are going to add a lot of things, and you need to learn other things again in the future. So that's why start learning now and switch to like Azure. Azure, if you get the job, it will be easy for you to understand and you can explore the new things as it introduced. Okay.
Malia, I have one doubt, Malia. Actually, in Azure we have any version? May I know which version we are using here? Any versions? Version 1.0, 1.1 like that.
Versions,
Yes.
Versions we have, right? V1 and V2. So this is data factor V2 we are using. V1 is no longer available. We have only two.
Not asking that, Malia. Actually, you have opened one cloud page, right? Web page.
Cloud web page.
The Azure portal. Have you opened that Azure portal, correct?
No. Versions. That is only one.
Okay, Malia.
Only. Okay.
Malia, here you are saying that we are using Azure integration runtime, right? We can use Jenkins also. Jenkins also on integration, correct?
But integration is different. This integration is different. You will see tomorrow session. Okay? I'll try to take that integration, and day after tomorrow I'll take that particular session how to create the account. Okay. So
okay, Malia.
Okay. Thank you all. Thank you. That's it for today.
Thank you.